when we sing songs, we're not really focused on what's coming out of our mouth. To think that here you are, and at least for 2 or 3 of you, God is in the midst. He's in the room. I believe that. And where the Spirit of God is, there is peace. Don't we need Him in the world? Perfect love casts out fear. We could use a little more of that. Focus. Focus. Last week, one of the things that we learned about love is abiding love, is that it is persistent. It stays. It doesn't go away. It is a commitment that lasts through everything. And if we say that we love, but we don't really abide in that love, how do you get there? Can you just get there because Jesus told you to get there? Can you focus on that? Satan has got all sorts of things out there that he'd like to distract us with so that we don't focus on what he wants us to focus on. I intentionally wanted that song, "The King is in the Room," to see how well focused you were. Okay, we won't talk about the score. But I want us to know that in order for us to abide in love, in order for us to have His attention, we should want His attention. We should focus on that. I dare say if someone came in here, let's say Greg Abbott or somebody, there would be a lot of eyes that would go focus. Maybe there would be more people here today. Now, Jesus Christ is in the room. I want you to take that pause for a moment, heads bowed, eyes closed. Set Him right next to you. Touch His hand. You feel the scar? Touch His hand. Believe that the King is in this room. He wants your attention. Okay, eyes open. Now let me ask you this. If there is someone that you encounter and they totally ignore you, they don't want to have your attention, what do you do? I mean, I understand the safety of this aspect of things. I'm going to HEB and I'm having a great day. And a lady walks by me and I say, "Good morning, have a good day." And she's afraid. She won't even go, "Uh-huh." She doesn't want my attention. The best thing for me to do is to let her go. She's going to really think I'm a kook if I chase back at her and I said good morning. Now, I'm thinking that God has something of that concept in mind. He says, draw close to God and He'll draw close to you. You got the picture? Now, if you want to give Him your focus, if you really want His attention. When I was a little boy, I wasn't a little angel. Yeah, I heard that. But I wanted attention. And sometimes I did things that weren't so good to get attention. Like I had this girl that I thought she was the most beautiful girl in the world. But I couldn't get her attention, so I took cuckoldburrs and threw them in her hair. Now that's a really dumb thing to do. But sometimes we need to do things to say, God, I want your attention. Jesus was nearing the time, about, I guess, maybe halfway through his ministry, a little further along. And some disciples of John the Baptist came to him. The other disciples, Jesus' disciples, were around. And in Matthew chapter 9, verses 14 through 15, Tom is pulling that up, or Robert's pulling that up back there. Then John's disciples came to him, saying, "Why do we and the Pharisees fast often, but your disciples do not fast?" Jesus said to them, "Can the wedding guests be sad while the groom is with them? The time will come when the groom will be taken away from them, and they will fast." We fast. When was the last time you fasted? You don't have to tell me that. We fast when we're sad. We fast when we kind of alter that understanding a little bit, when we feel like we need something, when we want something from God, when we feel an emotion, when there is some level of intense desire for something. But that alone does not make an effective fasting and prayer. But it does happen that way. Why did they fast? Well, he said that the wedding guest, if the bride, if the groom wasn't there, then they were sad. They were wondering where he was, maybe. Would he come? Hopefully he'd come right away. Hopefully nothing's gone wrong. Hopefully he's going to come today. Yes, exactly. Yes. Don't you wish he would come today? And we would kind of wish for that. He went away, but he's coming back. And there's plenty of things for us to want him to be here. Pardon me, he's here. He's in the room. Still, there's a need for us to fast, a need for us to pray. God has a fast that produces, and it's called His chosen fast, out of Isaiah 58. We're going to go through that just a little bit, so I wish for you to kind of follow along with me there. This is really neat stuff up here, somewhere up here. Isaiah chapter 58. Did we have that listed down there? I hope so. Oh, there it is. Okay. Now I want us to know that He's speaking, it's kind of like God speaking to the religious leaders, to those who are His people. Cry loudly. Do not hold back. Raise your voice like a trumpet, and declare to my people their transgressions, and to the house of Jacob their sins. Yet they seek me day by day, and delight to know my ways, as a nation that has done righteousness and has not forsaken the ordinances of their God. They ask me for their decisions. They delight in the nearness of God. But why have we fasted and you do not see? Why have we humbled ourselves and you do not notice? Behold, on the day of your fast, you find your desire, and you drive hard all of your workers. Behold, you fast for contention and strife, and to strike with the wicked fist. you do not fast like you do today to make your voice heard on high? Is it a fast like this which I chose, which I choose, a day for a man to be humble himself? Is it a bowing for one's head like a reed, and for spreading out sackcloth and ashes as a bed? Will you call this a fast, even an acceptable day of the Lord? Pause. Doesn't work. It doesn't matter if you cry out loudly, because the scribes and Pharisees would do that. They would, get their robes on, and they would go out and they would stand out and they would yell and scream and say their prayers and talk about how they had fasted, and they would put sackcloth and ashes on and look horrible, as to say, I'm suffering so much because I so love the Lord. I so want righteousness in my life. Cry out loudly. Declare how sinful other people are. Let them know. If you were more like me, it would be a better world. Boast, thinking how diligently you seek the Lord. Boast how righteous you are because you have His ordinances. You think you ask for only just decisions. It's the only right thing, God. What's taking you so long? Why are you putting up with all those people who are making my life miserable? You believe you are so close to the Lord. So you pray. Maybe you fast. Maybe you feel pretty intense about some of the things that you are asking for. What's wrong? Why doesn't God respond to our fast? We humble ourselves, but you pay no attention. Maybe we do that as far as our country is concerned. Maybe we do that because of a family member. Maybe we do that for many things, but we don't get a real response. Don't tell me you haven't been there. Your fast is only for what you desire, he says. Instead of you working harder, you push others to work harder on your behalf. Well, things would be so much better in this church if so-and-so would just do this, and this person would do that better, and they're just not doing it right. If I had that, if I had control, I would tell you how you guys need to straighten it all up. That's where we are sometimes. We fast. We're fasting is because of contention with others. Somebody else is to blame here. Somebody else is the fault. You fast because of contention. This is not the mindset of fasting where you should expect God to hear from heaven. So what kind is it? Is this the kind of fast with true humility? This kind of fast is a fast of performance. Makes you feel maybe even more righteous if you go for a fast. Say, I went all day, didn't have a single hamburger. I mentioned before, I've gone now for several weeks without drinking a bit of vinegar. There's a lot of things that we can pull up and say, well, but I'm so righteous because I've put this aside and I put that aside. What's the whole point? Because you want the attention of God. We do. We want the attention of God. That's who we really want. But instead we do things that causes us to want the attention of other people instead of God's attention. Is this the kind of fast with true humility? No, it's the kind of fast for performance. In verse 6, is this not the fast which I choose? To loosen the bonds of wickedness, to undo the bands of the yoke, and to let the oppressed go free, and break every yoke. So if I'm catching this thing about focus, and I'm thinking, what is God focused on? I'm focused on all of the problems around that everybody else is causing me. I'm focused on the pain of my body. I'm focused on my children that aren't acting quite right. My focus needs to be on what is God doing? What's on His heart? What does He want? This is not the fast. The fast which God chooses to loosen the bonds of wickedness. So focus on it. If you see wickedness around you, I know what you prefer to do. Turn it to the Hallmark Channel. Or turn it to, Snoopy or somebody. Or turn it to a football game or a baseball game. Watch the Knicks or watch the Spurs or, anything but focusing on the wickedness that is going on. Is that a problem? Satan uses a lot of things to distract us from what he's doing so that we won't feel that there's a problem. But he wants us to have attention to him. Do you think for a moment that he is pleased with all the stuff that is going on in America today? God's people said, no. Do you care? Loosen the bonds of wickedness. Figure out what you've got to do to loosen the bonds of wickedness. God wants to do that, but He wants your attention. Undo the bands of the yoke that's on you, and let the oppressed go free. Who are the oppressed? Have you seen any of them? When you turn your television on, or when you were walking down the street, and especially if you're in places like LA and Austin and, San Francisco and places where they're there. I have this one lady particular that's homeless in Georgetown. It's really obvious that she's imbalanced. She's homeless. She's harmless. Normally when there's somebody there at the corner wanting you to give them some money or whatever, there's this one guy who I saw him. He was running with his dog. He's like in his late 20s. He's running with his dog, and he comes back with this sign, "Need food." Now, is there something about that seems a little out of place? But this girl, her name is Christine, she's kind of dancing in her own little world, and she's not even got a cup to ask for anything. But you can tell that she's not one that was dropped off from a limo. She is really in need. And she'll be at different places throughout town, and every once in a while I will run across her and I'll see her, and I'll pull a little cash out of my pocket, and I'll say, I may be 2 lanes over, and I'll say, "Hey, Christine!" And she says, "Oh, hi, it's you!" And and then she'll go back and she'll go do her dancing. There are people who are in bondage. They need you. I don't know who they all are. I'm a little eerie about all the things that come across my cell phone these days because I don't know whether they're a scam or not. But I know there's a whole lot of scams out there. So I don't do a thing with those. But if I can find somebody who I'm totally convinced is in bondage and needs a little help, I want to give them a lot more than a few bucks. So sometimes we'll meet and feed the homeless. And it's my role to sit down and to talk with them if they'll give me a shot. They're out there. All kinds of oppression that you can break every yoke in Jesus Christ. But it takes you giving them attention. You who are school teachers, right, Mary? Boy, if you can't find a kid who's in real bondage and in real need, you're blind. And what do they need? What do they want? They want your attention. Doesn't matter who they are, what kind of background, they want your attention. What will God's chosen fast produce? It will loosen the bonds of wickedness. It will break the yokes of bondage and let the oppressed go free. That's what His chosen fast will do. God's chosen fast is not to divide your bread with the hungry. Is it not? Is it not to divide your bread with the hungry? Yes, it is. But your bread and their hunger, what is it? Do you really think it's just HEB bread? He's the bread of life. But it's so intrusive to try to pull out of them or to get them into listening to the word that I have to give them. Divide your bread with the hungry. I think of that as being something that you have, that you've been chewing on, right? Now, I don't mean that, you break it. You don't say, here, But something that you've been chewing on in your life, something that you have gone through and experienced and realized that Jesus did this for me. I know He can do it for you. You just start somewhere. Break the bread with the hungry. Bring the homeless poor into the house. I'm glad He said the house, not my house. Am I fair there? Bring them to church. Doesn't mean that you bring every human being, every homeless person into your house. There are a lot of really sick people out there. And you have a responsibility in your house. And some of them, the last place they want to be is in the house of prayer. If indeed that's what we are. If indeed we are a house of prayer. Would Jesus do that today? Would He come in today and say, you've turned it into a den of thieves. My house is to be a house of prayer. What is that? Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord. It has to come from your heart. It's something that you are abiding in His love. And perfect love casts out fear. I don't know if it's been recent or not, but there were several times in times past when we had the LGBTQ, LOP, whatever, that came in here and stayed here for several weeks before the word got them out. But some, oh, you just wouldn't know. Some were and aren't anymore and still abided in the church. God can set them free. When you see the naked, to cover him, not to hide yourself from your own flesh. When you see the naked, cover them. There are some people that are just all out there. Everything about their hurt, everything about their need, everything about the shame of their sin, it's just all out there. Help to heal their shame, their guilt. And don't forget about your own flesh. Don't forget about the weakness of who you are and that you're a babe in Christ and you still have a lot of growing up to do. Don't hide yourself. It doesn't say be open to everybody and tell them everything about your sin that's going on, every thought that you've got in your head. God's going to deal with that one day. But don't hide yourself from your own flesh. Be honest with who you are. Be honest with what's going on in your heart. And bring it out to God. Say, Lord, give me some direction. I don't know how to get past some of this sin that's in my life. Lord, I know I'm supposed to forgive, but I'm having a real hard time forgiving this person. Draw near to God and He'll draw near to you. If we want His attention, then let's seek it. If we want His attention, then let's draw near to God. He's got a set of standards. He's got some things lined up that He likes and some things that He really doesn't like. And so if you really want to draw near to God, He's in that field. Verse 8, then your light will break out like the dawn, and your recovery will speedily spring forth, and your righteousness will go before you. The glory of the Lord will be your rear guard. He's got your back. Then you will call, and the Lord will answer. You will cry, and He will say, here I am. If you remove your yoke from your midst, the pointing of a finger and the speaking wickedness, and if you give yourself to the hungry and satisfy the desire of the afflicted, then your light will rise in darkness, and your gloom will become like midday. Wow, won't that be good? If you want a blessing from God, then go find somebody to bless. Whoever they are, whatever their thing, can you find some way of blessing someone? I guarantee you there is an opportunity for you today, somewhere in this Copper's Cove. 11. And the Lord will continually guide you, satisfy your desire in scorched places, give you strength to your bones, and you will be like a watered garden, like a spring of water whose waters do not fail. Those from among you will rebuild the ancient ruins. You will raise up the age-old foundations, and you will be called the repairer of the breach, the restorer of the streets in which to dwell. If because of the Sabbath you turn your foot from doing your own pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy day of the Lord honorable, and honor it, desisting from your own ways, and seeking your own pleasure, and speaking your own word, then you will take delight in the Lord, and I will make you ride on the heights of the earth, and I will feed you with the heritage of Jacob and your father, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken. Thank you. Somebody got blessed. He wants to do all these things. If we will honor His Sabbath. Now, keep in mind that this is before Christ, the writing of this. The day before Passover was called the preparation day in John, the Gospel of John. Jesus was having a meal before Passover. And he was passing the cup. This cup is the new covenant in my blood. The new covenant. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are made new. All the things of the past were just a shadow of what was to come. Jesus fulfilled all of the Old Testament covenant. Now we're in a new covenant. It's the Lord's Day. Sunday, He rose from the dead. But not just today. Every day, right? Every day belongs to the Lord. Every day we are to honor Him. Every day we are to wake up and give Him respect. And it's good. Greg, you know Greg. He is transforming some things. And he's learning how to do a new routine. And he gets up out of bed the first thing in the morning and he's joyful. And he starts opening all the shutters in the house. You know, it doesn't matter whether you're still getting dressed or not. He's opening up all the shutters in the house. Letting the light in. Hi, Greg. Hi! Good morning, Lord. Can we do that? This little light of mine. Lord, help me to open the shutters. I want you to see me. I kind of messed up a few things yesterday. I'm so glad you have the grace to give me today. Isn't that right, Gloria? I'm so glad you gave me one more day. I'm only 110 years old. But would you... You got to love them. Lord, if you give me one more day, I'll try to bless somebody today. I'll try to look for that person that I can't help everybody. I don't have the knowledge and I don't have the gifts and I don't have the finances to help everybody. But if I can find a few that I have something that you have given me that I can give to them, freely you have received, freely give. Help me, Lord, to find that person that I can be a blessing to. And then when I fast, because when I fast, it's something that I want deeply. And it's not about me wanting what I want. It's me wanting about what you want. And help me to see that you want me to bless people. You want me to try to figure out what part I have to play in breaking the bondage that people are in. And if you do that, and you declare Jesus to be the motivator behind you, you could get shot. Yay! That's Paul. I counted a blessing that I could suffer on the behalf of my Lord. You know, that I regret that I have but one life to give for my country. What? This country is going to pass away. I regret that I have but one life to give for my Lord. Isn't that better? Because He's not. That's going to last forever. Well, what did I do? Oh, 2 minutes till. And all God's people said, Amen. Let's stand.